What's up, guys? In this video, I'd like to share with you guys some insight about how success happens. Most of the time, we have this impression that success happens overnight because we see somebody coming out of nowhere doing great, amazing things. And we have the impression that they just woke up that way and, they're just successful. So what I'd like to share with you is some insight that I've learned about my own life and the life of some of my friends who are very close, who've told me some stories and things that I've actually seen myself that changed my outlook and the way I see success and the mindset that I've decided to embrace in order to be successful. On this channel, I share a lot of insights. I'm Christian Mutabs. I'm a Congolese American. And I share so many insights with people who are first generation immigrants. And somebody asked me not long ago, who are they? What is first generation immigrant? A first generation immigrant is somebody who left their country of origin and came to the US as an adult. So what this means is that you were born outside of the United States. And most of the time, the people I connect with, that I spend a lot of time with, are third world country folks, right? So I call them third world warriors. So we've been through so many struggles. We've been through so much. We've seen pain and misery. So the first achievement, first of all, I'd like to congratulate you guys because you've achieved something that's amazing and great. Coming to the US, the way I look at it is you've left wherever you were and you've gone to a country that is prosperous, right? So if you want to get rich, the rule number one of getting rich is go where the rich people are and do what they do. You'll get rich. That's just the basic thing. So leaving your country, most of the time, when you leave your country and people basically, congratulate you because you made it to the United States, it's because it's a big achievement. It's hard to come to this country, and those who come here and then thrive and succeed inspire me because most of us, we didn't have rich parents. We grew up with a very, the life that we have lived in our countries of origin. So it's a very simple life. And coming to this country and making things happen is just, those are success stories that people should know about and hear about. Most of the time we talk about other folks who were born rich already and became richer. Like Donald Trump, born rich and becoming even richer. But we don't see the people who actually came from nothing. And by nothing, I mean, they were maybe eating once a day. And the next thing you know, they come to America and they turn themselves into more. Sometimes not speaking the language, not understanding the culture, and not being prepared. Sometimes coming alone and not having anybody to help us out. And you start from the very bottom, the lowest jobs, and struggling and trying to make things happen. Going to school and struggling and hustling and turning your life around to become somebody. Those are the success stories I'd like to share. So to begin this, I'd like to talk to you about a very close friend of mine, somebody who's been extremely loyal and somebody who's been an inspiration for me. We used to live back home in the Congo where I'm from. And, I'm not going to say his name just because, I want to stay in touch with my friends without sharing things that are too close to, so that people would know who they are. But in general, that great friend is someone that I've seen time and time again, not give up. And his mindset is one that has inspired me. When we were back home in the Congo, he knew that, life was hard. You know how it is in the Congo, wars, so many wars. And for those who don't know, 5 million people in the Congo have been killed, right? So it's a war that's been going on since 1998 and almost a decade of war. And in the east of the Congo, there's just so much going on there, right? So life isn't great. And as a result, he wanted to get out. And we were there. And one thing that I saw with him is that he never gave up. He would try everything and he would go to embassies and get nothing, not approved. And the struggle of even trying to find that money, that little $100, $200, when you live in a country where somebody working for a whole month, a typical person working in the government will make $50 a month. So if you make almost like $100 a month, you're rich. And that's why when people come to this country in America and they start making $7 an hour, minimum wage, they feel like, man, in one day, if I work for 12 hours, I'd be making as much as somebody back home who worked an entire month. So that's a perspective that most people don't have. So they don't understand the struggle and the pain. So my friend back home never gave up. And one thing he did, he flew to different regions and almost walked from the Congo to South Africa. What I mean by this is that it took him 2 months and he took buses, he took, trains. And next thing you know, he was actually apprehended in Zambia And in Zambia, he spent 2 months, in a cell trying to figure out, not speaking the language because in Zambia they speak English. And then from there, he kept going south, kept moving until he made it to South Africa. And then arriving in South Africa after living there for, almost like more than a decade, things haven't been great for him there because he hasn't been able to adjust. Even though he got his residency and he tried to work hard to, make a living, it was a challenge for him. And he was reaching out to me all the time, man. He's just like, it's not working out for me here. I did whatever I could, study, become an electrician, but things aren't working out. So I have to get out of here and go elsewhere. He tried to come to the US. First time, it didn't work. Second time, it didn't work. Third time, it didn't work. Canada, it didn't work. He tried everywhere. He got no chance whatsoever. It didn't work out. So he was almost like bummed. For me, I was just like, man, this is hard, man. You've been trying almost like 10 times, applying again and again. And rejection for him was almost a way of him to see feedback, right? So it wasn't rejection per se. His vocabulary is very different. My friend, the way he sees rejection is almost like feedback or favor. So when he tries something somewhere, the first time, the second time, third time, it doesn't work, he moves on to the next target. It's almost like you're just telling him next. He doesn't feel like he's not worthy. He knows what he wants, and he just doesn't give up. He kept going to different countries, different embassies, trying to get out, going to a country that's a little richer. And next thing you know, he ended up getting a visa to go to Germany. And from there, he went around. So, at the current moment, he's in London. He's been to France and everything. And he's trying to figure out a great place for him to settle, to also have his family with the expectation that he's going to build a good life for himself. It took him years and years. We've been talking for almost 5 years. He's been trying again and again, and he finally made it. So the idea here is that never see failure, right? It's a wrong word. Most people go to, let's say, try something. You try to start a business, you try to date a woman, and you see somebody, you actually get rejected. And as a result, you start questioning yourself. Never even look at yourself, right? The way to do it is you can watch the tape. It's almost like a game. You play basketball and sometimes you score, sometimes you miss. But watch the tape to understand what could I have done better? What could I have adjusted so that I could do, what can I adjust so that I can have better results? So the thing to remember here is that don't see it as rejection. Don't look internally and feel unworthy. See it as feedback, favor, and see the next target, right? So this doesn't work. What should I adjust? Should I have done things better? To start a business, should I have actually learned better ideas to even create a video? Should I, was this one good? How can I adjust things? How can I get better, at coming up with new ideas, at sharing my insights? You keep watching the tape, whether it's an interview or you try to talk to a woman and, you get rejected. You see it as a favor feedback and move on. So let me actually tell you what favor feedback is. Favor feedback is basically when you go to a job interview and you qualify for the job. When somebody says no, right? Sometimes they're actually doing you a favor. Maybe you don't belong there. Maybe that's not a great place for you. So they're telling you that this is not a great place for you. One thing most people do is they actually think, I'm going to stay right here. No, you have to keep moving forward. That place was not for you. All right. But what if there is a next place? What could I have done better that time that I can, what can I learn from that experience? So you learn something from what happened, and then you look at the next target, next game, and you keep playing and keep shooting, scoring. Whether it's dating, today you go talk to a woman, she says no, but you know what? Don't downgrade your game, upgrade your game. Think, is there better? Can I go to a better place? Is there a better country where I'm actually going to love it more? Is there a better woman who's going to love me more? Is there a better job? What can I learn? What trade, what skill can I actually get to become better? The way I look at it, I can go to a job interview and I don't get what I want. And I wonder, could I have done something better? Was it my fault? Did I not prepare myself well enough? Next time, I'll work on it. So what you do is you go back, and the way you'll actually survive in this, to not see failure as, a setback where you fall on your head down and you just feel like I'm unworthy, is to practice and see it as an adventure. For me, even this YouTube video, even coming to America, all the things like starting a business, going to college, it was hard, but it was an adventure. It's almost like going on a boat and then not knowing exactly where you're going. The adventure. If you love the idea of an adventure, a life well lived, because you tried things out. You've tried a bunch of things out. Some worked out, some didn't, but you end up making something out of yourself. So this obstacle, every time you reach an obstacle, a wall, it's the way. You break that wall and you keep moving forward. Another idea is, let's say you were driving on a road and somebody put a big block, like a big rock on the road. The way to see it is not as, well, most people, you know what they would do actually when they see a rock on the road? They'll just end up saying, well, I'm going to do a U-turn. It's fine. You can go through, well, do a U-turn. And then there are also other types of folks. You know what they will do? They will complain. How come I can't take this road again? There is a rock here. And then they complain. They use all that energy complaining about the obstacle. And then they do a U-turn. So there is one who doesn't say anything, does a U-turn. One who complains and whines, does a U-turn. And then there is the third type who will stop their car and do something about it. They will actually move the big rock and then keep going. So what we have to do in our lives is to see the obstacle as the way. Most of the time, when you handle or you stumble on a failure, on an obstacle or a challenge, it's actually something that helps you grow. It's almost like lifting up weights. It's like going to school. That struggle makes you. It's the adventure, the practice. And the way to not see failure as something that's almost the end of the world is to practice. Whatever it is you're working on, if you spend time practicing something, it doesn't matter, right? So I'm practicing how to make better YouTube videos. I'm practicing how to, do well in interviews. I'm practicing how to be a better nurse, engineer, a better, lawyer. If you're practicing, even when you fail a case, even when you fail a job, even when you don't do something right, the practice will help you, because year after year, you'll get better and better. You keep growing and become more. The other thing is about timing, right? Most people, they wait for the perfect time to do stuff. An example of that, I flew recently to see a friend of mine in Canada, a very good friend, who were out of touch for almost more than almost 17 years. And it was such a delight, sitting with my friend. We went to a casino where we sat with my wife, and then we were talking about just life, how, we've made it. And he was telling me stories about how when he got married, it was hard for him, the challenge he had to go through. Sometimes going to parties to clean up, a party where you would get cans of sodas, just to be able to, get 5 cents and then put it together, have $15. It was hard for him. But you know what? He kept trying to look for opportunities and having a big vision. Years later, today, he's in real estate. He's in real estate, and he has 5 buildings that he's working on, right? So 5 buildings with people renting. And his goal is to become a millionaire. And I know it's something that's going to happen because, from what I've seen, he's got tenants who are renting in 5 buildings with 2 apartments each. So it's good money, good income that he's making. And there is just a lot of hope that he's going to get there. And he inspired me. And one story he told me that I want to share with you is the story of a guy back home in the Congo who had 30 kids. So don't ask me how he ended up with 30 kids. So let's just say that there was this guy who had 30 kids and he had these big dreams. It's good to have a vision, right? But there is one thing here that he didn't get right. So he had this big dream and he's like, you know what? When I retire, I'm going to have a very, very big house, 30 rooms so that each of my kids will have, a room. So he was working hard, building a house slowly and surely. And then next thing you know, the vision came through. He was about 65, retiring. He built a very beautiful house, very wonderful house with 30 bedrooms. Perfect. But you know what? It was late. The kids already became old, got married, and left the house. So he was in a very big house by himself. So the problem there was timing. The timing was not right. It was a great idea, but he waited too long. So something that was supposed to be a joy turned into something that didn't feel like an achievement. And then he made a second mistake. The second mistake was that he didn't pivot, right? The idea of pivoting when, switching lanes, trying something else, it's not giving up and saying, this is it, I failed, and I had an idea, it's wrong. One thing he did that was very inspiring no, the mistake that he made, actually, to say, he made a big mistake by basically selling the house. It's just like, I don't need this house, let me just sell it. And there was one guy who came saying, well, I'll buy this house since you don't enjoy it because it's so big for yourself. I'll take it. He bought, he sold it, not thinking through it. He figured it cost me this much, let me sell that. And you know what? The person who bought it took that house and turned that into a hotel. So it was a hotel where, people could come and was making good money. So what that guy could have done is turn what seemed like a failure into something else, right? You have a house with 30 bedrooms. How about turning that into a hotel and having people coming in? And then you could also one day have your kids coming for Christmas, right? They may not live with you every day, but on Christmas, you can have all the kids coming home again, or, you can just clean up the hotel. And in December, you can just spend time with them. They can come for a holiday or something like that. The idea here is that sometimes you actually end up doing things where you meet someone, things don't go the way you want, right? Whether it's a relationship where you may fail, the idea to see that is that, how can I pivot? How can I find the next move? What can I learn from this? All of us, whether you're married like me or, people who are dating, again, is still dating and thinking of getting married, we all got rejected. We all were in relationships that didn't work out. But we learned so much from them. And it was hard, and we had to go through that pain to learn, right, why it's important to maintain a good relationship and some of the mistakes we made. So failure, whether it's in a relationship, it's good, right? It's all about seeing it as an adventure, an experience where you get to learn something, you get to grow out of it, and you get to become a better person, and you rise, you grow, right? And that's what I've experienced in my life and some of the things that I've seen people evolving, even in business. It's hard. It's very hard when something happens to you and you fall on your face. You feel like this is the end of the world. I can't find a solution, and this is it for me. And you're there, sometimes crying, and it's hard. And I understand that. So there are tricks you can deal with, use to handle failure and rise. One of the things that I highly recommend, is to have an inner circle of trusted advisors. So the first thing is you need to have friends, people who help you, because sometimes you'll go up, sometimes you'll be down. You need to have a group of friends, 2, 3, or 4, who are always with you no matter what. And so people you've tested through time who had your back no matter what. You need to take your time to create that circle. So you have somebody, friends who are loyal to you, friends who don't share your secrets, friends who are always with you. And these people, when you fall down, you can count on them. So you need to have a circle of friends. And that's one of the ways when things don't go right, you have somebody you can turn to kind of, because you'll be weak mentally. At that moment, you have someone who can help you, bounce back by reminding you some of the things that you've done that were great in the past. And then what you need to do is to make a promise to yourself and practice. Make a promise to yourself and your close friends and family. What I say is, guys, in 2030, I am going to be a millionaire no matter what. I'm going to put the time that's required. I'm going to come up with ideas that are required. I'm going to need you guys to support me because I am going to be a millionaire. And all the things I've been able to achieve today are things I wrote on paper, I told my friends, and I repeated. Whether it's coming to America, I remember some friends telling me a long time ago, even my friend in Canada told me that I was telling him even before, back when we were in school, that, you guys are worried for nothing. Me, I'm going to be in America. Don't worry about me. You guys do your thing. So I had faith. But to me, faith is one thing that people get confused, right? Having faith is not just about believing in something that doesn't make sense or something that seems impossible, or just because I believe that I know God exists in my life, and as a result, I have faith. Faith, the way I've worked on my faith is just the same way I've worked on my muscle. I brainwash myself. I tell myself things, that are almost not real. I tell myself I am a millionaire by 2030, and I've made it happen already. So you and I are seeing this. We are going to make great things together. Right? Tell yourself something, write down the time, think about it every day, and lie to yourself, brainwash yourself until it becomes until you start enjoying the dream, right? And you start telling people, I am going to be this, I am going to do that. Faith is, making those declarations, dreaming about it, sitting down and having that feeling in your heart that, I'm enjoying this thing, man. I'm going to be big, I'm going to be huge. What will happen when you have that feeling is that ideas start coming to you. The world start working, the universe works with you, God works with you to make it happen. So believe, brainwash yourself. Brainwash yourself that you're gonna have an amazing partner. If you're single, that you're gonna have an amazing partner. If you're married, that your relationship is gonna be even more amazing. Your life is going to evolve to greatness. So you have to brainwash yourself, believe it, telling yourself and feeling that and thinking about it day in, day out. And then ideas and insights are gonna come through. And the way I've always operated in my life is that no matter what, I've made some promises to myself, like giving up is just not an option. I can take a break and pivot, but I never give up. What makes it easy for me, in general, it's hard. But the reason why I am able to pivot and try again is not because I'm crazy, right? It's almost like I don't try to do the same thing over and over. What I try to do, besides watching the tape, is train. I do train. I practice. My idea is, all right, I wasn't good. I knew no English whatsoever when I came to this country. And then I am going to train. I'm going to get better. Maybe I was not good at, working out, and I want to now become do men's physique competition. How can I get better? If I don't have the knowledge, nowadays you have YouTube, you have Google, you can just go online. You don't even have to have a library, like I do. You have friends who may know stuff, but go online and Google it. It's so easy. There are so many shortcuts. This is the best time to succeed because the knowledge is out there. You don't have to figure it out on your own anymore. People are just putting knowledge out there to give you shortcuts. And I am where I am because of, I'm standing on the shoulder of giants, people who helped me rise and become the person that I am because I learned from their mistakes. I read from their books. I watched their videos. I, bought some materials to help me get shortcuts. And after a bunch of shortcuts, after a few setbacks, but then as I keep training and I keep practicing, I rise, I win, man. So in this, I hope that, the takeaway for you is that failure is part of the process. Failure is a word you need to remove from your vocabulary. See it as an adventure. It's, an adventure to you get a chance to practice. You get a chance to get feedback and a favor. The favor is almost like, most of the time when I've gone to an interview, somebody said no. I tell myself, and usually it's because it's true, that 100% sure that if I took that job, I was going to be miserable. And same thing goes for some girls. You think, oh, if I married this girl, my life was going to be great. Chances are you are going to be miserable like you don't know. So, and as a result of all the setbacks you may have had, you are where you are. But don't just see it as a limit and don't, look down, upgrade your game, look even higher, believe in yourself. And about timing, the moment is always now. Don't wait. Tomorrow is not better than today. Do it now and learn. Most of the time, people think success is like a straight path. I know what I'm doing. But all the guys from The Rock to Barack Obama, what you don't see is the training, the pain, the hurts, man, the tears at times. So, if you're going through pain, you're doing things right. If you right now feel like you're being punched in the gut, you are doing things right. Because the person who's safe, sitting in a place in a corner and not getting any pain is not growing, man. No pain, no game. So you need to embrace that pain because pain is, and something that actually tells you that you are doing the right thing, right? So it may not be obvious at that time, but when I look back, everything that I've dealt with, I've gained so much from it. It's made me stronger, better, smarter, wiser. I've made mistakes, but I never see them as mistakes. I'm training and I missed a shot and now how can I adjust my shot? How come that person is doing it? What is he doing differently? I'm going to observe them. I observe myself, I observe them and I copy. If I copy what you're doing, if you go to a rich country and do what the rich people are doing, if they're working hard and you're working hard, if they're reading, you're reading, if they're learning, you're learning, if they're training and you're training, you're going to become like them. So if you like this video, subscribe to this channel every week and preferably on Sunday in the afternoon around 3 p.m. right after church. I'm going to be posting a new video with some insights for my third world warriors. So that we can learn together and share together. And also feel free to write a comment. Let me know what you think about this and what topic you'd like me to share with you guys. I'm hoping to share as much as I can as we're learning together, growing together. We come from far and my hope is that we all succeed together. I don't enjoy going to work at times and being the only one who's like me. I want more people to be like me so that together we can actually go even further, right? So on my own, I can go fast. Together, we can go far. Subscribe to this channel. I'd like to thank you guys for your time. It's always a pleasure spending time with you guys. See you next time.